So today is a story of my faith journey. I realize now this is the first time since confirmation that I've stood in front of a congregation talking about my faith journey, but it's kind of fun. So it started probably like many of yours. I grew up in a family where it was important to my parents to have me confirmed in their church, in a church that aligned with their beliefs. My personal beliefs were still forming. I was confirmed at Grace Lutheran Church in Ada, Minnesota. Anyone heard of Ada? Oh, wow, look at that. That's exciting. Yeah, so up in the Red River Valley, and that was in October of 1987. It was a time when I was taught not to question. The scriptures were the inspired word of God, and I needed to believe what was written. That was good enough for me until I got to college. In college, I pursued my dream of becoming a physician. It may have actually been more of a calling than a dream. I don't remember ever not wanting to be a physician, even as young as 4. My college experience opened my eyes in many ways. It was like I had been looking through at the world through a keyhole, and then someone opened the door. And I had this bigger grasp of the world, of the different peoples that lived in the world. I had friends of different religious backgrounds. I didn't know there were non-Lutherans in this world. But no, I had many Jewish friends in college. And I had questions like, why would God allow my Jewish friends to burn in hell when they're striving to make the world a better place? I became well-versed in physics and chemistry and biology in this journey of mine to become a physician. And I realized that if you truly believe that God created the earth in 7 days, 24-hour days, and you truly reject the theory of evolution, it is very difficult to major in the biological sciences. The evolution debate is just one of many perceived conflicts between science and religion. Religious teachings ask us to believe in things that are not seen, to have faith, while science pursues experiments that help us understand our world. I found that this conflict caused me to compartmentalize my life. I had my spiritual self, but that was quite different than my intellectual self and professional self. Thankfully, as I was grappling with these questions, I became friends with one of my pastors at the United Methodist Church in Rochester, Minnesota, where I did my residency. Pastor Liz is a spunky Mexican-American Methodist pastor who's now retired. And she made me realize it is okay to question. It actually was very liberating to me to realize it was okay to question. It's okay to understand the historical context of the scriptures, to understand the overall message of biblical teachings. It's okay to look at the texts as poetry, adaptations of a beginning that were taught to our ancestors who were trying to conceive of the inconceivable, the beginning of the world, among many other mysteries. In short, Liz helped me realize that science and faith can coexist. What a relief that was. Now I am at peace with the unexplainable, the miracles that I witness in my life and beyond. We have all experienced these miracles in different ways, often at pivotal moments in our lives, such as the birth of a child or the peaceful passing of a loved one. At times, I am privileged to witness what I can only describe as miracles in the traditional sense, medically speaking. There was one in particular last year that I thought I would share because I will never forget. There was a patient, we'll call her Molly. Of course, her name's not really Molly, and she's not actually from this community. So I will modify her story a little bit, but this is actually a true story. Molly is a 58-year-old grandmother. She has children who are grown. She has young grandchildren. She's very active in taking care of her young grandchildren. She was having headaches, couldn't get rid of these headaches. So she underwent an MRI. The MRI showed her worst fears. 2 spots in her brain. It looked like metastatic cancer. Molly had never had a history of cancer. So she began to undergo a series of tests to understand, where did this come from? Nothing showed up. So ultimately, our task was to try to get a piece of one of these, or maybe remove one of these masses, so we could understand what was happening to Molly. Now, I'm an ear, nose, and throat surgeon. I don't generally remove brain tumors, but I am a sinus surgeon, and so I work collaboratively with neurosurgeons to remove tumors that we can access through the nose. So Dr. Chabot, one of the neurosurgeons in town, and I had a plan to remove the tumor of Molly's that was the most accessible, the one that was just above her sinuses. The morning of her surgery, Molly had an MRI, and that was so that we could use it during the surgery, and it was updated. The amazing thing, the first amazing thing, was that the tumor, the second tumor that we weren't biopsying, the one in the back of her brain, was gone. It was just gone. It wasn't there. And we had another neurosurgeon look at it. I looked at no sign of this. But the one we were planning on removing was still there, and so we proceeded with the plan to remove it. The surgery went fine. Once it was removed, we did something called a frozen section. Some of you may be familiar with having the pathologist look at it while she's still under anesthesia. We closed everything up. The word came back into the OR that the mass was benign. And in fact, it was a meningioma, and it had been completely removed. And so we went to talk to Molly's family, and we said, "You're never going to believe this. This morning, we thought we were going to be telling you some horrible news about some terrible cancer that your wife and mother and grandmother was going to be dying from in the near future. And in the end, it's a benign tumor and she's cured." I'm still dumbfounded. I don't know what happened to that second tumor. And I, on one hand, feel badly for the crazy roller coaster that Molly and her family went on, but it's really nothing short of a miracle. And we shared in their joy and their faith in the miraculous. The more education I've obtained, the more I read, the more I realize I don't have all the answers, nor do other physicians, the great thinkers of this world, the great scientists of this world. But I've seen God. I have seen God in the miracle of birth. I have seen God in loved ones taking their last breath, surrounded by their family members. I have seen God in the courage of my patients facing challenging illnesses and in miracles like Molly. I feel blessed to be part of this faith community where God's love is emphasized every day and in every way, where science and faith can coexist. And I feel blessed to grow in my faith with my fellow people of Bethlehem.